Our next speaker, our last speaker in today's stream is Pavel Bogdanov, the general partner at Almaz Capital. Please put your hands together for Pavel Bogdanov. Pavel, please come on stage. Here is your clicker.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. It's SVOD Europe. Can I get my slides? Okay. So I think you heard a couple of talks today already about when to go global and how to go global. Everybody pretty much agrees that you should go global from day one. But there are different opinions how to go global. So I will talk about our perspective on this, and hopefully you'll find it useful. So, all right, here we go. So basically, what is VC perspective, right? VCs make money by investing in startups, and when they make a decision to invest, they look at several criteria. And pretty much every VC will come up with a list very similar to this. So to be investable, your startup has to solve a clear problem. The solution has to be differentiated. You have to have a clear competitive advantage. You should address a very large market. You should be better than competition, and you should have a stellar team. So that's sort of the list every VC is looking at. And the major issue in Eastern Europe is market size. What's a market size that's good enough for VCs? Typical answer, you have to have $1 billion market or more to be interesting for a venture capitalist. So there are two ways to go global to achieve a large market. Even in a country like Russia, domestic markets are small. There are very few markets that like $1 billion size and more, like Yandex is addressing one of such markets. But in many IT verticals, markets are tiny everywhere in Europe. Even in Western Europe, it's a problem. Countries like Germany have dramatically smaller markets than the US. And in Ukraine or Bulgaria, that is certainly a big problem. So people have two views of going global. One is you build a leadership role in domestic market. You become sort of #1 player somewhere, and then you slowly expand to neighboring markets and go abroad. We typically see startups that say, okay, we'll win Latvian market, then we'll slowly expand to Estonia and to Bulgaria and then to Poland, and within 5 years we'll go to Spain. So that's one way to grow. And there's second option is from day one you start targeting the largest market in the world. This is US market. And there are examples from this part of the world that have done that successfully. Again, VM, Parallels, AVG, EPAM, etc. From a perspective of venture capitalist, I will argue that you have to go to the US market first. And here is why. As you have heard from the beginning, VCs look for large markets and for sustainable competitive advantage for growth. And it turns out that US market is dramatically bigger than any other market in new industries. In established industries, US is in IT is usually estimated to have 40% of the world IT spend. But in new markets, US dominates every other market in the world. Like this is an example of global SaaS revenue. When software as a service model was just being born, you can see North America is dramatically larger than all other markets combined. So if you were to build a company in SaaS, it would make sense first to go to the US, than to build a big company in Ukraine. Just imagine this. You build a company that's #1 in SaaS, say in Ukraine, and your total addressable market, okay, whole of Western Europe, is $63 million. So you become number one in Ukraine in 2 years, but a company that starts in the US 1 year after you have started, maybe copying your technology, can take only 10% of US market, and it will already be 10 times your size. So if it's a fast-growing market, you should go to the US. Then a few more examples of US being sort of the largest market in emerging industries. This is revenue of social networking. I use Facebook as a proxy, but you can see that US revenue on social networks was larger than, again, the rest of the world when the social network was just started. Similar in other markets that emerged in the last 10 years, you can look at virtualization, software-defined networking, other markets that are billion-dollar plus right now. Again, in the very beginning, US was 50, 60, 70, 80% of the world market. Later on, as the markets mature, the rest of the world catches up, and slowly US is shrinking to its sort of long-term average of 40%. So if you want to be a global leader, not just a local market leader, if you want to build a company that's defining a new industry, we, as a fund, think you should target US as the number one market in the world. So I will briefly tell you about Almaz, how we sort of act to help you achieve your goal of going to the US. We actually are a firm that helps bridge this region to the US. We operate as one group with 2 offices in Moscow and Silicon Valley. We're actually opening another office in Eastern Europe soon, probably this year. Every deal we do, we have 2 people working on the deal, one in this part of the world and one in the US. So you don't have separate teams working on US deals and separate team working on Ukrainian deals. You have one team helping the company. And of course, we have built a very strong network of technology partnerships, partnerships with great talent to help you scale. We have been operating in this region since 2008. Our first fund returned over 30% IRR to our investors. Fund 2 is on track of generating good returns as well. We have invested in a bunch of companies that are fairly well known, like Yandex and Parallels and whatnot. We have co-invested with great venture funds as well as with corporate partners like Cisco and SoftBank. Actually, Cisco has been a loyal limited partner of Almaz and is really helpful. As I said, our team now is equally split between Russia and Silicon Valley. We're further strengthening the US office. We'll hire 2 more people to the US. And as I said, we're also opening another Eastern European location next year. In terms of industries that we think are open for innovation and where you can strive to build a big, good global company, it's I guess, for those of you who follow the industry, there'll be a very standard list, but it's big data, cloud. We think that traditional industries will be disrupted by software, the web, and Internet of Things. Vertical markets for SaaS, database tools, storage, IoT, and machine learning and data science. I'm not sure, I probably did it too quickly, so, and this is the last talk, so I won't speak for another 10 minutes just to take my time. I will tell you more by going through some of our advisors that can really help you in the US. We have great technical team. I want to highlight here with Diffie, the guy in the middle. He just won Turing Award end of last year, which is a Nobel Prize equivalent in computer science for inventing Diffie-Hellman public key encryption algorithm. James Gosling, another advisor, is credited with inventing Java programming language. Jeff Arnold, another great distinguished engineer, who had a long career creating technology for major companies. So those guys stop by our office in the US on a regular basis, and sometimes they serve on boards of our companies and can help you. We have also Ed Lu, an astronaut who went on US and as well as on Soyuz mission to space. After being an astronaut, Ed worked at Google, creating Google Street View. Now his main job is to protect the Earth from asteroids hitting the Earth. So he's part of this project that is building a large satellite that will detect asteroids far, far away, so that the Earth can get its act together and fight that asteroid and avoid the destruction of the civilization. It's very interesting. They have raised over $100 million already from private investors to build a system. John Fiber is a former VP of engineering at Sun and has been a venture investor for many, many years. Another advisor is Yoav, who led corporate development at Cisco in the region in Eastern Europe for many years. Kevin was a general partner at Kleiner Perkins for many years. Again, great contact in the Valley. That's it. Basically, thank you. We have a good team to help our startups in the US. And if you are addressing challenging global problems, if you're looking to raise capital and you have hard time generating interest from Sequoias of the world, come talk to us. We'll be happy to talk to you. Thank you.